Okay, no problem. We're talking this cycle about self-discipline. Before I do that, I want to talk a little bit about that form and why it's important, and talk about meditation. There's this thing, it keeps circling around every once in a while. I see it, and it gets me thinking again. There's this Facebook meme, and I don't know, whoever's on it, sometimes there's this cop sitting in a library. He's a London cop, and sometimes there's a monk. But the line basically is, you should, to achieve whatever result, or to be healthy or to be happy, you should meditate at least half hour a day, unless you don't have time. In that case, you should meditate for an hour. Has anyone seen that before? It pops up all the time.
I didn't see the time, but 5 Keys of Happiness meditation is one of them.
But I always say that it pops up all the time, and it's a good reminder, and it kind of fits into, I updated my blog finally last week. Did you write that in the newsletter? Put it in the newsletter?
Yeah, look around.
Yeah, okay. So basically just rant about that whole mentality of not having enough time, not having enough money, and just about prioritizing, because we all, everyone makes that excuse they don't have enough time, right? But everyone has the same amount of time. Everyone has 24 hours, but some people just get more done and some people get less done, right? And a lot of times what we do is we think we're busy because we're focused on tasks and not so much result, right? And it becomes a habit. We make a habit of keeping ourselves busy, and we tell ourselves we're busy all the time. And it's just like any other affirmation, right? Any other affirmation, like when you tell yourself that you're overweight, and you kind of talk to yourself in a bad way about it. We're going to talk about this later on. It makes it a lot harder because you're constantly reaffirming yourself that negative thought, right, which you don't want to do. And not having enough time is exactly that. It's the exact same thing. When you're telling yourself all the time not having enough time, even when you do get free time, you won't recognize it because you're so convinced you don't have time. You'll fill it with usually something stupid, like something around the house that you think you need to do, but you really don't need to do. Or Netflix, right? I'm so busy.
Gonna go ahead and say it.
Or Netflix. I use that a lot. But that's justified too. It's, I had a hard day. I got to sit down. I got to put my feet up, and I got to watch Netflix. So it's always justified. But the point is that no one really has extra time, right? We just have priorities. We have things that we have to get done, and we don't have extra time. But we don't want to be constantly telling ourselves that. It's not a matter of time. It's a matter of priority, right? Because if it's a priority, you'll make the time, right? Anyway, with meditation, it's kind of the same thing. If we can't, there's some truth to that. Well, there's a lot of truth to it. If you don't have half hour to set yourself up for the meditation, then you should make it an hour. Meaning that meditation doesn't take time; it gives you time, right? And it starts by kind of clearing out all the craziness that you think you have. And it helps give you perspective on it. Does anyone have any kind of meditation routine that they do currently? Does anyone have an affirmation routine they do currently? Like the affirmations that we've gone over a little bit? Yeah, good. It's a good idea if you're not meditating, at least in the morning first thing, to go over those affirmations, right? And in the morning it's nice and quiet, and you haven't been distracted yet. And this is kind of, I'm going somewhere with this, I'm not just rambling, but the thing I like about when you do meditation properly, in my opinion properly, it's a lot like Mantis, like we just talked about, right? You don't want to be reactive, you want to be active, right? And meditation in the morning, that's what you're doing. A bad habit, probably the worst things you can do, a lot of us do when we get up in the morning, is what's the first thing we do? Yeah. First thing, well, if you don't have a phone, it's something. It's read the paper, or turn on the news, or check Facebook, or whatever. But 9 times out of 10, sorry?
I turn on the kettle first thing.
That's a good thing too. But a lot of times what happens, if we're not careful, it's something reactive, it's not something active. And this fits along with the whole what?
Pellet.
The whole concept of Mantis is like that, is that we're acting, we're not reacting. And that's why I love the system, is because the whole system of self-defense is based on that, not reacting, not waiting to see what someone else is going to do and then try to block it or defend ourselves, right? But instead, if we have to defend ourselves, we want to go forward very, very aggressively so we know we're going to be safe. So we're not reacting to someone else, but we're forcing them to react to us, right? And we want to take the same approach to our day and how we build our day. And the first thing you do, you turn on the TV or read the newspaper or check Facebook or whatever, right away you're setting out your day by responding to something else, right? And 9 times out of 10, when you put the news on or read the paper, it's pretty crappy news, right? Has anyone read anything or seen anything particularly positive on the news lately?
I don't read the news, watch the news anymore.
And anymore. Why?
Because the news only reports the bad stuff.
It's so negative,
It
it gives
is
you cancer.
one good story will appear normally right at the end.
Yeah.
I don't watch the rest of the stuff because normally it's so over embellished with garbage. It's just you don't know what the truth is anymore in the news.
Yeah,
It's got to be
exactly.
bad. Really bad.
And well, people use the excuse. Well, I have to be informed. I have to be informed. Well,
Misinformed.
but anyway, the point is you want to start out your day as actively as possible, and meditation will help with that. And I find, me personally, if I skip it, my whole day tends to be reactive, and sometimes I don't even notice till the end of the day. I'm like, wow, that was a crappy day, and then it links back to why, because I started it reactively instead of actively, right?
Mm-hmm.
But the hard part with meditation is just kind of letting everything, letting all that reaction kind of stop and just quieting everything. And that's the best thing you do in meditation, is just kind of quiet everything. But a lot of times what happens when you sit down to do it, you can't. Or what happens in the morning, if you try to meditate first thing in the morning, any idea what happens then? You fall
asleep.
Well, yeah. It's hard to sit up, so I'll just meditate laying down for a little while, and then you fall back to sleep, right? Going back to the Qigong we had just done, that's why this set that we're doing is particularly good. It's not hard to remember. It doesn't take that long to do, but I find it just enough. If you run through this in the morning, we just did 1 quarter right now. Later on, we're going to do the full form, right? It's not much more complicated than what we did. It's just doing the same thing 4 times, but it takes longer. But when you do it 4 times, it's just enough exercise to kind of get you moving a little bit and get your body to actually wake up, so you will be less likely to fall asleep when you're doing meditation. So it's a good thing to do. Yes.
I always found that one particularly, like, I know it's like healthy to eat in the morning because it gives your metabolism a start. And so many people skip breakfast, but I find that one because of, like, especially because of the breathing and the crane stance, it wakes up your digestive tract, so you're hungry and you want to eat breakfast. Like, especially when you have to get up early and it's too early and you don't want to eat. That's what I find.
Yeah, it's a good form for that. So what I would recommend, if you guys are gonna either work on your affirmations in the morning or do meditation in the morning, I'd highly recommend doing this form first, or even if not doing either one of those, just to wake up your body. Because think about it, outside of Kung Fu, the average person, do they actually wake up their body during the day? You think about it, they get up, they walk, but think about the range of motion you guys go through in the training. You're doing a whole bunch of different range of motion, right? That's designed to keep the body healthy and have your lymphatic system moving and everything start to do what it's supposed to do. Most people don't do that, right? And you'll notice if you're doing this regularly, but you go on vacation and you stop doing it for a week or two, a lot of times you come back and you'll notice everything gets really stiff. And that's the way most people live. They live in this kind of tight little bubble like this where they're basically, this is them, and their butt gets up and takes them over there and sits them down that way and then over this way. But really there's not a full range of motion to wake the body up. So even if you're not doing meditation or affirmation in the morning, this is a very good thing to do just to wake the body up. Okay. Now, leaving that for now, we're working on self-discipline this month. So before we go into self-discipline and what that means, let's just talk about discipline first, okay? What are our thoughts when we say discipline? What comes to mind with that? Yeah. Parents, good. Anything else? Yeah.
Willpower.
Sorry? Willpower, yeah, good.
Control of your urges.
Yeah, good.
Just think of it as a choice.
Choice, good. Yeah, that's a good one. Anything else?
Having a goal, an endpoint.
Yeah, having a goal, good. Wow, okay, we're on the right track. Because a lot of times when I ask kids what discipline means, it means like they get...
a pillowcase full of bricks.
Mom and Dad yells at me, right? Discipline, we say, is just guidance. We tell the kids, discipline means, when Mom or Dad asks you to do something, you go and do it. That's, a very simple explanation is that's pretty much it, right? It doesn't mean always doing what someone tells you to do, but it means if Mom or Dad tell you to do something, you do it, right? Because Mom and Dad are telling you something. Why are they telling you something? Usually because they know what's good for you and they want you to be guided in the right direction, right? So it's basically it's guidance, right? It's not beat downs, right? That's harsh discipline. It's not ridicule. That's negative discipline. It doesn't mean that. It just means, guidance and structure and self-control, right? To us.
A habit of obedience.
A habit, yeah, that's a good way to put it too. A habit of obedience. And then we tell the kids self-discipline means, same thing, but you're just doing it by yourself. You don't need mom and dad there to tell you what to do all the time. You know what to do, and you do it on your own, right? What do you guys think about self-discipline in that respect? What comes to mind when you say self-discipline? Any other ideas? Yeah.
Parenting yourself.
Parenting yourself, yeah, good. Anything else?
Put yourself back in line.
Put yourself back in line, yeah, good. One big thing that we've kind of built the school on is positive discipline, right? Positive reinforcement. And we tell parents this a lot of times when they first come in, because a lot of times people will get the wrong idea, and sometimes, depending on the person, the parent will come and be like, look, Johnny's crazy. I need you got to discipline him, right? And kind of sometimes, not all the time, sometimes what they're saying is, my kid's nuts, I don't know what to do, I don't feel comfortable hitting him, but I want you to do that, right? which doesn't work. It doesn't work because ultimately what happens, we say, oh, well, okay, I can do that if you want. If you want, we can be the stick if you want. But then what happens 3 weeks later is the parent comes back and says, Johnny doesn't want to do this anymore. He doesn't want to do Kung Fu. He says, I don't know, he just doesn't like it. I don't know why. Well, I know exactly why, because we're the stick. And you're like, okay, well, do you want to go to Kung Fu? Well, of course not. He doesn't. He's terrified because he asks us to be like the hardcore disciplinary person that they want to be, but they can't, right? And of course, if they're not going to be kind of the back end to support that, the kid doesn't want to do it. And we don't take that approach anyway. Very rarely will we take that approach. Our approach has always been positive reinforcement. So instead of taking a harsh military stance on kids, because we know they're not going to want to do it, right? We have to balance it. We want to focus on positive behavior and then encourage that behavior rather than just ridiculing and say, that's wrong, don't do it that way, do it this way. That's not going to really work in the long run. It's going to make people feel depressed and not motivated, not happy with themselves, right? And not have a lot of confidence, right? The old school way was balancing confidence with discipline. And if you discipline too harshly, the confidence drops. And if you build up confidence too much, the discipline's going to go out the window, right? Well, that's kind of, we find that to be bull crap. It's not like that at all right? We want to have both. We want to have really good confidence and really good discipline. Now, there's a way to do that in a positive way. You just have to discipline positively, right? So how do we do that? How do we discipline positively? What comes to mind when I say positive discipline?
You reward yourself.
We're not talking about self yet. Don't skip ahead.
Oh.
Just discipline.
Positive
with the kids.
discipline?
Yeah, positivism with the kids.
Look very actively for them to do something right and not for them to do something wrong.
Yeah.
You acknowledge good behavior.
Yeah, that's it.
Be the role model too.
Yeah, you lead by example. Well, stuff we talk about in boot camp, right? What are some things we talk about in boot camp? What do we
Expect
get?
the best of them always.
Yeah. We just build up confidence in them too first. We build up respect. How do we do that? We do what? Chips. We give chips. We compliment, right? We give compliments, and that's giving out those chips, right? And later on, when you want to do a correction, you do with a compliment sandwich, right? So you compliment the person, right? So you show them they're really, really doing well, and you offer a slight correction, and then you remind them again how well they're doing. So that's positive discipline because we want to reinforce the positive behavior. And a lot of times it's hard when you get frustrated, and a lot of times what happens is you just want to reinforce the negative behavior. You want to say, oh, stop doing that. It's wrong, right? But with some self-control, you can not do that. So everyone starts to get this now. We're talking about this positive discipline. The parents get it, and students get it, and yeah, that's awesome. But then what happens is, we don't do that with ourselves, right? We don't take the same approach with ourselves. So when it comes to self-discipline, you got to realize that it doesn't mean beating yourself up, being like, oh my God, I'm so stupid. I got to stop eating that way, or stop, smoking or drinking, or stop doing that. And we're not treating ourselves the same way we would treat a student or someone we're mentoring. And that's a mistake. We're doing the same thing. We're misusing discipline. We're doing the same thing, misusing self-discipline. So you got to make sure we're treating ourselves the same way we're treating other people. What did you have to add to that?
Oh, I just wanted to say, adding to that, it works both ways, I guess. You don't want to expect perfection right away. And I think it's the same thing with self-discipline.
Yeah, so what we're going to be talking about, what I'd like to talk about, we kind of talked about habits already. All this stuff kind of bleeds into each other. But I'd like to talk about different things we can do for self-discipline. So I'd like you guys to think of a habit that you'd like to start or a bad habit you'd like to stop. Okay? Think of one right now. Think of either a bad habit you'd like to drop or a good habit you'd like to start. And I'd prefer it be a good habit you'd like to start. Okay? And if you can't think of one right now within 1 minute, I'll give you a bunch of good examples because there's tons. Okay? What's a good habit you think you can pick up over the next 3 weeks? Any ideas? What you'd like to do to improve? Yeah.
Complimenting random people.
Okay. Good.
From a self-discipline point of view, it's start meditating in the morning when you get up.
Okay. Meditating in the morning. Awesome. Fantastic. Anything else? Yeah.
Well, I've recently redone our garage and have a big space laid out to do some stuff, whatever. And part of that stuff is to practice stretching. So, like Greg said.
Practice like Greg.
Practice like
I was gonna say Glenn.
It's like, guys.
Is right away in the morning, just go into the garage. That way I'm separated from everything else that can distract me. And just sit there and do like 5 minutes of stretching.
Yeah. Good. Anything else?
Try to exercise every day.
It was more along the lines of what Dan was saying about stretching and being more flexible. That's one thing I got to work on.
Anything else?
Yeah. Well, I'm moving out next Wednesday into a place that has a big space that I'm going to use for my doing art. So I want to have the habit of drawing every day for an hour. I know that's a long time, but you need to practice for an hour. So that's the habit that I want to start.
Good. Okay, so what I want you guys to do is, as soon as you get in touch with your notebook or whatever, I want you to go home, and if you're listening to this and you're not here right now, but you're listening to this later on Facebook, write down whatever that thing is, and we're going to work on this for 3 weeks. Okay? So I want you to write it down, and then I wouldn't mind if you post it on the Peak Performance page just to make it, public. The reason we do that is to commit you to actually doing it. That's part of the reason we have this group. This Peak Performance group is like a mastermind group, so we all hold each other accountable in a way where we're not going to beat you if you don't do it, but it's a little bit, oh wow, it's Monday and I haven't done anything in my goal yet, and Tuesday's tomorrow, and I don't want to be like that guy in the group that didn't have anything done, right? And also, I kind of made this program to be useful to you guys, where it has you apply some of this stuff into your lifestyle to improve it for the better. So in order to do that, you kind of have to show up and do the work, which everyone's here so far, so that's great. So I'm gonna be a little bit more pushy, maybe, just to make sure that you're actually kind of getting it done. So I would really appreciate if you guys have been really good on last cycle. Who started it? I think you kicked it off, and you posted something on there. The values, yeah.
Everyone did it.
And then a bunch came after that, and you posted them too, right?
Too.
Yeah, that was great. So I really appreciate that when you guys put in the group what you're doing, what your goals are, whatever it is you're working on. If you can post it on there, it really helps. It helps remind other people that they got to do it too. So I want you over the next week to pick that good habit, and I want you to work on it for 30 seconds a day, and that'll be all that you got to do for now. Only 30 seconds a day, right? And that's, like I might have told you when you started, that's what's most important, is the consistency, not the big ideas of I'm really going to do this, I'm going to do this thing for a full hour and it's going to be great. Just like when you started Kung Fu, I might have told you that. Don't move the coffee table, put your uniform on and try to train for a full hour, because you'll do it once and you'll never do it again, right? Train for 30 seconds a day or a minute or whatever's very, very easy but, doable for you, that you can do it consistently. But if you be honest with yourself, if you're not going to do it 3, 4, 5 days in a row because it's too long, then just cut it down. What's important is the positive discipline. So we want to focus on what you're doing. We don't want to set a big goal and then feel crappy about it later because we dropped the ball on it, right? So make sure it's manageable. So pick your positive habit that you want to get down, and do it every day for 30 seconds. Okay? Does that make sense? Does that fit with everyone's habit? Okay. Yours is meditation, but 30 seconds meditation is much better than what most people do, which is nothing. So that 30 seconds will be good. And then next week we can talk, see how we did, if we got every day, and then we can increase the time. Any questions about that? Can everyone do that?
Yes.
Yeah? Max, wake up. Can you do that?
Yes.
Okay, good. You might want to, yours is good, but I don't know if you could make it something a little more, I don't know. Well, you could just change it. You want to compliment people more, right? So, just, you gotta,
Can I change it?
you could, yeah, what is it?
Okay.
Could do both.
I don't know what. Like, could you give me an idea?
Well, complimenting people is really good. We just gotta find another way to track it. If that's something you think you really want to work on that,
Sure.
okay. You do or you don't?
It's like, sure.
What would you like to work on? What is something you'd want to be better at in 3 weeks from now?
Complimenting people is something I don't want to work on, which is why I need to do it.
Oh, so it's something you think you do need to do. Okay,
Yes.
good. So then you got to compliment 5 people per day,
Okay.
right? Can you do that?
Yeah.
5 people? Is that too easy or too challenging?
It's fine.
That's fine. Okay, good. So you got to work on that then. 5 people per day.
Okay.
Okay. So and post in the peak performance group unless you're Max. What your thing is and how often you're going to do it. I recommend 30 seconds. If you only 1 minute, 2 minute, whatever it is, just post it, and then we'll go over this a little bit more. We'll follow up on how it went next Tuesday or Wednesday. Okay.
Okay, then in my case, I'm gonna post one drawing on peak performance every day.
Okay. Yeah, that's fine. Use the group. That's what it's for, right?
We're
So
starting today.
Photo
or-
out,
starting.
photo out.
Well,
30
if it's an evening
30
task,
challenge.
start
Yeah.
today. If it's a morning task, which I think most of it sounds like morning stuff, then start tomorrow morning. All right? But it's got to be every day.
Okay.
My